In this video, we are going to look at calculating emergency tax and then transferring the employee onto a cumulative basis. This employee started work with us in week 1 of the tax year, and for the first 10 weeks were on emergency tax. They did provide us with a PPS number. Then on the 11th week, we received their cumulative cert and they were transferred onto a cumulative basis. So because they actually have a PPS number, for the first 4 weeks that they're on emergency tax, they're entitled to a cut-off point of €650 per week and a tax credit of €32 per week, based on the emergency tax tables. For the next 4 weeks, they're entitled to a cut-off point of €650 per week, but have no tax credit. And for the 9th and subsequent weeks, they have no standard rate cut-off point and no tax credit, which means all their earnings are going to be taxed at the higher rate of 40%. So for the first 4 weeks, their pay is €450. Because it's less than the cut-off, it's all going to be taxed at 20%. So 450 at 20% gives you €90 in tax, less the tax credit of 32, with a deduction of €58 in tax in each particular week. The next 4 weeks, the employee also has a cut-off of €650, which means that all their pay is taxed at 20%, given gross tax of €90. With no tax credit, the tax deducted in the next 4 weeks is going to be €90. For the following 2 weeks, all of their earnings is going to be taxed at 40%. So 450 at 40% is 180. With no tax credit, the tax deducted for the 9th and subsequent weeks are going to be €180. In week 11, we received the cumulative cert. So what we need to do is transfer the gross pay and the tax to date from the emergency cert onto the cumulative cert. So when I add up all the gross pay between weeks 1 to 10, I come to €4,500. And when I add up all the tax deducted, it comes to €952,000. So what I'm going to do is transfer that onto my cumulative card. So I slot my gross pay and my tax from my emergency card in there at week 10, and I now calculate on a cumulative basis. So in week 11, we have €450, so the gross pay to date is 4,950. Because it's less than the cut-off of 7,150, it's all the earnings to date are going to be taxed at 20%, giving us €990. Less the tax credit to date gives me cumulative tax to date of €291.94. When I take away what was previously deducted, this employee is due back a refund of €660.06 to bring him up to €291.94. So he had previously €952 deducted, and I need to give him back €660.06 in order that his cumulative tax to date is €291.94. For the 12th and subsequent weeks, he should be expecting a tax deduction each week of €26.54. So in summary, the first 10 weeks of the tax year he was on emergency tax and the emergency rates were applied. At week 10, I transfer his gross pay and his cumulative tax over to the cumulative card, and hence start to calculate on the cumulative basis. Whenever somebody is on emergency tax and we receive a cumulative cert for them, one would expect them to receive a refund in the first week that they're on the cumulative basis, and that would be a refund of the emergency tax that was calculated.